So we're going to continue with that Hashem with the letter of the Ramban. It says, anybody that gets angry, all of Gehenna, all of hell sort of flares up inside of him. All of Gehenna takes control of him. The Ran explains that a person that surrenders to getting angry, anger is not only dangerous in of itself, but also what it could lead to. It's the first step towards breaking all boundaries to coming to every other sin that's going to follow along. Hagon Rav Yaakov Daniarov understands that anger in of itself can become like a living hell for the person actually going through it. He says that David HaMelech says, Hashem He'elita min shol nafshi, Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu took me out of the depths of the lower world, which means that while David HaMelech was alive, he's saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him out of the depths of the lower worlds, implying the burning emotions of anger, depression, and frustration that a person is going through, in of itself is considered like going through hell. In itself is Gehenna. He says that a person that gets angry, one of the most difficult things in a person that's angry is that he doesn't accept any criticism. You can't correct him. You can't try to guide him. You can't talk to him. There's nothing you can tell him. He just doesn't want to hear anything, right? A person will never accept the criticism, even though it's constructive criticism. And without being able to accept other people giving him that musr, that criticism about what he has to do in order to get himself out of the situation to change, it's much harder for a person to get over with it. He says, most men go through lives of quiet frustration, that all their emotional difficulties are all built up within them. A lot of people on the outside, they show a certain composure, like they're normal, like everything is fine. But inside they're turmoiling, everything is boiling upside down. Their hearts are flowed with bitter disappointments. Every new experience that happens in life that brings a person to a setback, he gets more angry. Right? We need to say if a person has certain expectations, the person wants something and it doesn't happen the way he wanted. Right? So people react with frustration, with anger. Right? The Gemara says there's a way, there's an antidote to those feelings of anger. It says nobody's free of sin. Every single person has avirot. There's no person in the world who doesn't have avirot. And he says even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mercy on those people who have avirot, but there are certain people that Hashem doesn't have mercy on, but the majority of all people HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mercy on. The only people that Hashem doesn't have mercy on is people that are completely shayim all the way through, which is not too many people. Right? I'm not saying there isn't, but it's not, the majority of people are not like that. And when people sin, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, instead of punishing them all at once or giving it to them in a way that be too hard for them to handle, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings it out slowly throughout the course of a person's life. The Gemara says there's many discomforts that a person may go through in life, which is going to be a divine retribution, which is there as a kapara for his avirot. A lot of things throughout the day, a lot of things throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year that happen to a person that is slowly just cleaning a person out for his avirot that he did. They say that what? Imagine you went and you gave your suit to a tailor to fix and he messed it up, he didn't do a right job. You took your car to a mechanic, he messed it up. You hired a contractor to come fix your house, he did everything wrong. At the end of the day, he double charged you and bichlal, it was a horror story, right? Or anything, right? Anything of that sort. Right, you went and you hired a caterer to make a party for you, and you came and you barely brought any food, and the food was not good, and half of it was not fresh. Right? It says that Gemara says that's Hashem's way of divine retribution. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving a person a kapara for his avirot when that's happening. Like we mentioned before in a different lecture, that nobody in the world could harm a person or benefit a person if it wasn't decreed from Shamayim. Every single thing that happens to a person, whether it's good or whether it's not good, right? You could call it not good, but ultimately everything is good, right? But everything that's even difficult, anything that happens to a person can never come to a person if it wasn't decreed from Shamayim that it should happen to a person. Nothing in the world can happen to a person if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't agree and if a person doesn't deserve it. Everything that happens to a person, every good person or every bad person that comes into a person's life, anything good or bad that happens to a person's life, everything is ultimately for his own benefit and everything is directly from Hashem. The Gemara goes on to say, imagine if a person asks for a hot drink and they brought him a cold one. You go to a restaurant, you order food, right? It comes out, it's a little bit cold, doesn't taste too good. It's like everything, right? You think I had this place, So what happens is that also is divine retribution. That also is not is the kapara for averot. The Gemara says even if you put your hand in your pocket to take 3 coins out and 2 coins come out, that is also kapara for averot. What is that? What are we trying to point out? That a lot of times the discomforts or the difficulties in life that are happening to a person seems to fail, fail to recognize that all these things that are happening, they are from Hashem. Doesn't realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving him a kapara from his averot. He doesn't see that it's from Hashem. The Chafetz Chaim says, and the Gemara that says, on the day before Mashiach comes, the generation is going to be like the face of the generation, the face of the generation feel like the face of dogs. What does that mean, the face of dogs? People don't look like dogs. Chafetz Chaim says, imagine you have a stick and you hit a dog. The dog is attacking the stick. He doesn't realize that the person is hitting him. It says the same thing. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives a person a kapara for what he does in order to clean a person's soul, so he doesn't pile up with too many sins, because then after in Shemayim it's going to be much harder to clean. The Ramban says a little bit suffering in this world cleans a person out from a lot that you would have to go through in the other world. It's much easier for a person to get cleaned out over here. Therefore, if a person would understand that, he'll become much less angry, he'll react much less, because if a situation comes to him in life that's very discomfort or something not that he wanted or expected, if he realizes that it's from Hashem and he realizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu directed this directly to him as a kapara, it'll be much easier for him to accept and to say, I understand, I deserved this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought this person to punish me because I probably did a certain avirah and I deserved it. The Gemara says that if a person goes 40 days straight without any pain or any discomfort, he has to be scared that he lost his Olam Haba. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you know what, this guy has no more Olam Haba, let him enjoy himself in this world. There's nothing for him to come in the world to come. He's just going to have to answer for all his avirot, which is horrible, because this world is temporary. Right? You're only here today, not here tomorrow. Right? And the world to come, when your soul goes back to where it came from, you're there eternally. It's forever. It's a world of eternity. Right? So you're willing to give up a world of eternity for a world of 70 years of this world that's difficult and hard and working and so on and so forth, right? To give up that world of eternity, it's scary. The Midrash says that a person has to be able to develop a positive outward attitude towards the losses or anything that happened to a person in life. What does that mean? The Midrash says, imagine if somebody in your house broke an expensive bottle of wine, right? Instead of reacting in frustration and in anger, you react in compassion, right? You say, it's okay, it happens, it's just a bottle of wine, it's such a big deal. You wipe it, you throw it out, life moves on, it's not the end of the world. The Midrash says, a person with such an attitude, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I myself will repay you your loss. If you will react in compassion in such situations that require you to, that most people will react with frustration or being upset, if you will act with compassion and overcome it and realize that everything that happens is directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I'll directly pay you for your losses. So this is the key to try to avoid anger and working yourself out of anger, is to understand that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to you is exactly what's supposed to happen to you. And anything or anybody that comes along in your life, whether it's good or not, is a direct messenger from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And with this, it'll be much easier for us to get out of anger and not fall into the trap of anger, which anger leads, can destroy a person's whole entire life. And a person could suffer in hell in this world just by being an angry person. Chas v'shalom. Well, we all be blessed with Hashem to have a good year.